episode of the Fairway to Retail Success is brought to you by AGM vendor partner T-Commerce, the online retail solution for golf facilities. T-Commerce helps merchandisers and golf professionals expand sales beyond the physical shop and fill merchandising gaps. Give your members and customers the convenience of shopping online 24/7, all with no extra inventory risk or additional work for your staff. Visit tcommerce.shop to learn how easy it is to take your shop online. Now, back to today's episode. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Fairway to Retail Success. I'm your host, Justine, the AGM's Director of Membership and Education. Today, we're joined by a true industry innovator, Ben Lorenzen, CCM, the Creative Director of Champions Run in Omaha, Nebraska. Ben's work at Champions Run is redefining how private clubs engage their members, blending creativity with operational excellence. He's not only a leader in club marketing, technology, and member engagement, but also a sought-after national speaker, setting new standards for excellence in the private club industry. Ben might be a familiar face to our members who attended our AGM retail conference in January 2025 in Orlando, Florida, as he was our closing keynote speaker. That was certainly a memorable session. Ben's insights are invaluable for anyone looking to elevate their retail experience and build stronger connections with their members. We'll be diving into topics like creative concepts in golf retail, cross-department collaborations, and how to stay ahead of trends in this fast-evolving industry. Ben, thank you so much for joining us today. Let's get started.
All right, let's do it.
So, thank you so much for being here. I know I talked a little bit about your background in my introduction, but can you take us through your career journey a little bit? How did you get started in the private club space, and what led you to your current role at Champions Run?
Yeah, so I actually started in golf services. So I was the one who cleaned the golf clubs and I was working for dollar bills and trying to get tips from the golfers. And that was kind of my first exposure into the private club world. And then from there, I say I graduated to being a lifeguard, which I loved the club atmosphere. I loved being outside. I just knew I wanted to do something that was fun like that. And so I started in the aquatics industry as well. And that's where I started really shining in what I was doing. I was doing a lot of creative stuff, making videos for our aquatics department. And I was still in college while this was happening. I went to school for journalism, broadcasting, and all that good stuff. And so after college, I didn't realize that the private club world actually had real jobs and full-time jobs. So I left and I went to work for a pharmacy running their websites and building websites for them. So always had that creative background. And then after 3 years of doing that, Champions Run reached back out and they needed somebody to jumpstart their marketing department. And so I did that, and as well as doing the aquatics as well for the clubs. In a condensed short version, that was my short journey, but I really made not no pun intended, made a splash for myself like in aquatics. And so that's how I was able to get my foot in the door in the private club world, which is really cool.
Awesome. So, your experience when you were younger getting started was at the same facility. Yeah.
Exactly, which is crazy. So
Yeah.
I've been at this facility on and off since I was 16 years old. And I'm not going to tell you my age, but it's been a lot of years. Like we're pushing 20 plus years.
That's awesome. I love that. I know we have some of our members. I think that's a great speaking to the experience who maybe leave and try a different experience and then come back to their home at that facility that they maybe started at when they were in college or very young, went out into the world, got some new perspectives, and then came back.
Exactly. And the cool thing about the private club world, I always describe it, it's like there's 10 businesses in one. So it's not just golf, it's
Mhm.
not just pickleball, it's not food and beverage. It's like there's all these businesses that make it up. So it's fun because you get to do and dabble in a little bit of everything.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So, when you spoke at our AGM retail conference in January, and for those who weren't there or don't quite remember, the theme was All Grown-ups Are Pirates, which was so much fun. And you really challenged us to think beyond traditional retail and golf and private clubs. What are a few creative concepts you maybe have tried out recently that really worked, or that maybe even surprised you with how well they resonated? Anything cool you've done recently?
Yeah, so I talked a little bit about in that session about staff apparel. And if you have cool staff apparel at your club, your members are going to want to buy it too. So we have these, I don't have one in here and I'm so sorry. I need to grab one. But we have our new staff hats and they're like they're tan with these pink brims and it's pink letters and it says Champions Run. And so what we did recently, we just did a flash sale where, hey, do you want to wear what the staff's wearing? Order this hat on Instagram, and it was our marketing director taking a selfie, and we sold 40 hats off that post right there, which doesn't sound like a lot, and but for us, that's a ton, especially in the private club world. Selling 40 hats off an Instagram post is
Yeah.
unheard of, and so it's going to be cool because we're going to see our staff wearing those hats this summer as well as all of our members, and they're cool, and our members want to wear what the staff wear as well.
Absolutely. And not just unheard of, but unheard of 5 years ago. This has totally changed the whole sales dynamic of being
Yeah,
able to use tools.
when you talk like live social shopping and Instagram shopping, I think that's just it's a huge untapped market that I don't know if a
Mhm.
lot of clubs have tapped into it yet. And so
Mhm.
there's a lot of opportunity because we have to remember that some of our members, there's members at our club who've never even stepped into our pro shop. So it's how do we bring the pro shop to them where they feel like, oh, I don't even have to go to the pro shop to buy apparel and merchandise. And so I think that's a huge component that a lot of us can capitalize on in 2025.
Absolutely, 100%. So I think Instagram is a good example of this, but club communication is evolving very quickly of how the clubs are reaching their members, communicating with them when they're on or off property. How have you started to see member expectations shift in terms of how they want to receive that information from their private club? Are there any formats or channels that are really evolving to be good for member engagement?
Yeah, I think text alerts are a huge piece to what we
Mhm.
do. Email is going to be that traditional way that we all communicate, and it's not a bad thing, but a lot of us are getting inundated with tons and tons of emails. A quick text message with just, hey, here's what's happening, quick updates that way. Quicker digestible bites are going to be have a bigger impact than these long explanation of flyers or whatever the case might be. And then the other piece is people are visual. So they want to see those pictures of your pro shop or your merchandise. And not only that, they want to see people wearing that merchandise. That's a big thing. And the power of influencers are huge. We'll talk about that later, but
Mhm.
there's influencers that are influencing the way people buy. And we see it with the staff hats that we just talked
Mm.
about. We didn't just take a picture of a hat, we took a picture of somebody wearing a hat. And so it's that visual element that's so important. So anytime you can add visual or video to your communications, it's going to have a bigger impact.
Absolutely. I'm glad you brought up text alerts because I'm starting to hear about that down here in Florida with some of the private clubs.
Yeah.
So I could definitely see that starting to emerge because we all are drowning in our inboxes every day.
I want it fast. There's
Mhm.
stuff that warrants fast communication. If a storm's moving in and there's
Mm.
lightning,
Yeah.
there's just fast things that you need to be notified or cancellations where you're not checking your email every 10 minutes, where your text, you're probably checking those a little bit more frequently than your
Yes.
emails.
Yes. Yeah. And things like getting off a wait list or anything like that that's time sensitive.
Time
And
sensitive. Yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
So, for merchandisers and other professionals at private clubs who are really trying to reach their members when they're not physically on property, what strategies have you found most effective to really cut through the noise, so to speak? I know text alerts is a great example of that, but anything else that's really driven them when they're not on property to maybe come and visit or pick up the phone and call, anything like that?
I think the biggest thing we focus on is entertainment value, where they are inundated with a lot of video messages and just visuals, right? There's a lot of pictures, there's a lot of videos out there. And so it's how do you break through the noise? And so people don't necessarily want to be sold to, they want to be entertained. And then the buying is a byproduct of being entertained. So they want to be fans of the staff members in your pro shop, for example. So we love showcasing any of our team members, and they have to be wearing Champions Run apparel. That's another big piece is any staff that you're showcasing at your club, they should be dressed of what you're selling in your shops. And so I don't want to see somebody wearing some Augusta apparel when I want to sell Champions Run apparel. I think that's a big piece to it, but you have to break through the clutter, and we do it through entertainment. So it's got to be fun, it's got to be short, and it's got to be funny. I think those are the three key things that we focus on is, hey, to break through the noise, we have to stand out and we have to be a little different.
Absolutely, absolutely. And
Did you see the video we did with our golf pros recreating the scene from Zoolander, by the way?
I don't believe I did.
Okay, have you ever seen the movie Zoolander before?
Yes.
Okay, I will send you this video. If you haven't seen it, just Google Champions Run Zoolander and it'll probably show up on YouTube. But it's exactly what we're talking about. And our members, all they were doing was talking about it. Now, they didn't necessarily, well, they were wearing Champions Run apparel, but it was breaking through that noise, which is I think is so important.
Absolutely. One of my personal favorite of your videos is the golf shop sale, I think is going on, and there's you were in a like an elf costume and there was dancing, and that was really fun,
Oh
and the
yeah,
staff was
recreating the
dancing. Yeah.
famous movie scenes. That's a thing we're known for as well. So that was a good one.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I think that the cross-department collaboration piece is really going to be the future of retail and thinking of ways to reach people outside of your four walls of your golf shop or traditional, someone comes in and picks up a shirt off the rack and pays for it at the counter, but really working with what's available on property and your other departments. So, how do you think merchandisers can better collaborate with those other departments, whether it's food and beverage or aquatics or fitness or the marketing team? How can they really leverage those for a better member experience?
I think it goes back to, for us, I think it's being portable and being fluid, where it's understanding, hey, what are the events that are coming up at our facility, and how can we get the pro shop and the golf shop involved with maybe a pickleball event that we're doing that, we're 150 yards away from our pro shop, but how can we get apparel over here to capitalize? Because our members might not go walk over there. So how do we bring the shop to them?
Mhm.
I think being fluid and portable, but also just understanding you have to have a good pulse on what's going on at the club. So what's going on at aquatics, what big food and beverage events, and the thing that I'm really excited about is, I say excited, I'm scared. We're closing our golf course. We're going to be killing off the fairways and reseeding the fairway. It stops a ton of foot traffic through our pro shop, which equates to sales. So we're going to have to get really creative on how we're going to hit budget when we're getting rid of 2 months of golf because we're doing
Mhm.
renovations. I know a lot of other clubs are in that situation too. So I
Sure.
think creativity is going to be such a huge piece of how do we reach our members, because now they're not here to golf because the golf course is closed. So how do we keep getting them in the door? And I think we just have to be fluid and understanding, and how can we just get creative? And I love the creativity that came out of COVID, and you're seeing a lot of it from merchandisers and golf professionals and everybody. They're getting really creative, and I think that's really cool.
For sure. Yes. And really testing their creativity.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah. And I think that's a good example of not being siloed off in your department. I think that is just one of many good reasons to be open and communicating and involved across the property, not just in your retail box or in your
Yep,
aquatics box, but really thinking as a whole of a team.
absolutely.
Can you tell us about one of the other really creative examples I know you had at our retail conference that, speaking of golf course, that reminded me. Can you tell us a little bit about the drone drops
I
and
knew
what
that
that
was coming.
entailed?
So I'm going to go off on a side tangent because now I just got a really good idea while we were talking about this. But so one thing that we do, not every day, but we do it frequently where we want to make some fun memories out on the golf course. So what we do is we fly our drone out on the golf course. It's actually right up behind me. And we have this little attachment. We take shooters, like little fireball shots, and we write fun messages on them. And now we look at the tee sheet. I don't go and just do this on random golfers. I know what people will find it funny and which members will not find it funny. And so we'll go drop little shooters over them. So they don't know where we're at, but we're flying a drone over the green and they're looking up like, what is that? And then all of a sudden a little shooter drops and this one just says, you need this.
Oh,
But
I love it.
some of them will say your shot stinks, so we're giving you one, or just fun little messages. But going off on that, it's like, how could you like tie this into maybe like your pro shop, or maybe it's a free, I don't know, whatever,
Mhm.
like 20% off. Like, how do
Yeah,
you t drive home like a fun sale, but do it differently than just putting out like a flyer or doing something fun? So
yeah.
that was the idea I came up with. I'm like, hey, what, maybe we could do something fun with a sale. So if
Mhm.
you've ever been to like a sporting event, like a hockey game or a basketball game, there's always like an indoor blimp that flies around and drops like Chick-fil-A gift cards. That's the same concept, but we're doing it on
Yes.
a golf course.
Yes, love that. That would be awesome. Anyone could have a coupon or come and redeem in Golf
Yeah,
Shop for a free gift or for some sort of promotion or discount. So very
absolutely.
fun. Very fun.
I love it.
Yeah, that'll certainly make their round memorable when they receive one of those.
And I think it's fun because once again, they're also doing this, right? They're like pulling out
Hmm.
their phone, like, what is happening right now? So when we talk
Hmm.
like organic marketing, they're marketing our club without us paying them any dollars, right? And so that's a big piece of what we try to do. We're trying to create Instagrammable moments so our members can do that kind of stuff as well and help us
Right.
spread the word of fun and what's going on.
Absolutely. And they're going to go tell all their friends about it, share it on social media, all
Yep.
that. So love it.
The other thing, when we were talking about like live social shopping too, I think some things that like scare people away is like, how are we going to do it, right? We use a form builder. We have something called like Jot Form. It's a very
Mhm.
common form builder,
Yeah.
right? So Instagram gives you the ability to add links. So we do it pretty easy where it's, oh, you want this hat? Just fill out your name, your member number, and we will bill you after the fact. There is no credit card transaction that happens. And it allows like the ease of buying, right? That's the other big
Mhm.
piece is like, how can we make the buying experience easier and a little bit more fun too?
Being easier than even just a normal online transaction for them, just knowing their account's going to be billed and you take paying by credit card or anything out of the equation.
Yeah.
Terrific. Definitely. And is live shopping something that you do regularly or only at certain times of the year? Is it part of the sphere there, would you say?
Not as much as I think it will become, especially when our golf shop closes. I think like showing our team like what's out there and what's possible is going to be a big piece because we won't have as much foot traffic as we once had. So we're going to have to get creative. And I think that's where we will get a lot more like kind of that live social shopping experience. And then being able to see the people wearing the product too. I think that's another big piece that not enough clubs do is having their staff be their models. And I know that staff doesn't always want to, I don't want to stand there and have you take my photo, but members want to see you wearing the
Hmm.
product. They want to see what their kids are going to look like wearing the
Yeah.
product. And so
Yeah.
I think that's a thing that you're going to see become become more apparent in the industry.
Absolutely. I was recently at a PGA magazine roundtable down here in Florida, and of course, the topic of influencers and all and social media came up. And one spin that came out of that conversation was that at a private club, even though you may not be able to use all of the social media that a public place could, in a way, your golf pros are your influencers
Oh,
at
yes.
the facility, right? That professional staff, that is who the members are looking to, not only for their golf game and all that, but for what they're wearing, how they're styling it, what shoes are cool this season, are they comfortable? That's who they're going to go to. So, in a way, the pros are already influencers in their facility, even if they don't see themselves that way.
So to all the merchandisers, make sure that your team members are just swagged out all the time.
Yes, all the latest and greatest.
Yes, absolutely.
Do you have any keys or strong takeaways of building better relationships between the golf shop, merchandisers, buyers, the professional staff, and the other departments around the club so that everyone is really aligned around that wonderful member experience?
I think it's yes, absolutely. I think it's understanding like we don't always understand what the other departments are doing and they don't understand what we're doing all the time. So I think it's having that open mind of, hey, we're busy, but like we always need to make time for each other and always make time for fun ultimately. We go to a lot of our departments with some really crazy ideas that may have nothing to do with whatever we're doing at the club, but I think it's having that open mind, and I think that's what's such an important piece that sometimes lost in the private club is you have to have an open mind. So I understand there's people at the clubs and your clubs that do not want to be on video. They don't want a photo taken of them wearing holding golf balls or wearing a shirt, but they have to have an open mind that like the goal isn't to we're not trying to embarrass anybody. We're trying to grow our product, grow our brand, and ultimately increase our revenues.
Absolutely. Open-mindedness so
Mhm.
important. And just because something has always been done one way, it's okay to try it a different way every now and again.
Absolutely. That's the thing. It's how do we keep pushing the status quo and doing things different, but while still trying to maintain traditions that we may have at our clubs or that's another big piece. So
Sure, sure. Finding that balance and definitely.
yeah, it's a battle. It's a battle, but it's a fun battle. And I think we
Yes,
we all experience it too in the private club world.
for sure. So, what is on the horizon at private clubs? Are there any tools or trends or technologies that you're really excited about right now that our members should be keeping their eyes open for?
I think obviously everybody has heard of ChatGPT by now. We've been using ChatGPT for like over 2.5 years, which is crazy because it was still like quiet where people are like, I don't know about that. And now I think a lot of people have become very reliant on it. I think ChatGPT is a great thing, but at the same time, don't let it take away from like the human side of it too, where I can sometimes get articles and be like, use ChatGPT to write this. And so you want to stay true to tone and voice and all that thing. So ChatGPT is a great thing, but I think there's also going to be a lot of other programs on the horizon for better photo editing. Canva is one of those things that came out of nowhere where no knock on golf shops across the country.
Mhm.
We were outdated in how we made flyers using
Yes,
Publisher and that. And
yes.
Canva has made everybody a great graphic designer. Like I went to school to do Photoshop and it took me 2 years of education to become very good at that skill set. And then Canva came on, and I'm like, I didn't need to go to school for this. And it's good though, because it's elevated everybody's product where like whether it's the golf shop or the food and beverage department or tennis, they're all making high quality content. And it's because of programs like Canva, and you're going to see more of it with video editing, podcasting, things like that. It's only making us all better at our jobs and putting out better content for our members. So I think there's a lot of great platforms, but it's important to stay connected with what's on the horizon and don't be so scared of it. I've seen so many clubs who are like, we could never do social media. And it's like, but you can use Chat GPT. There's some stuff here, like you have to have an open mind because the future members of the world are going to demand social media. So one way or another, your club is probably going to be on social media at some point. So you might as well just start trying to get that snowball rolling.
For sure. And like you said, the next generation of their members will expect that and it'll be part of their lives.
Yeah, they're gonna say, "What do you mean you don't have Instagram for the what?" I don't check my emails more than once a week, so how am I gonna get the messages? And so I think with social media, it's we have to also remember that our members aren't at our clubs every day, even though we think they are. They're not here every day. And so social media and text alerts, but mostly social media gives the opportunity to connect with them on the days they're not here, where they might be sitting on their couch, they might be in Florida, they might be in
Mhm,
Arizona, and they're like, "Oh, look what Champions is doing. It's
mhm,
so bum we're not there right now." It's all about connection, and I think that's what clubs need to just keep looking
mhm,
at on the horizon is how do we keep connecting with our members on a
mhm.
frequent basis?
Sure. And going back to the text alerts, just because I've never been somewhere that is used, worked somewhere that used them, can the members write you back a message and does that make it to the team to respond or triage it, give them a call? How does that part function?
Yeah, absolutely. So text alerts are great because you can opt in into certain categories. So I have kids, so I say I don't want any notifications on kids. I only want stuff on dining and golf. And
Mhm,
you can opt into those subgroups. So we can actually text groups that are like, hey, we're doing a wine event, so let's just text
mhm.
our wine group. So that's
Okay.
great. And then the best part, like you just said, is members can text us back. Sometimes that's a
Okay.
good thing, sometimes that's a bad thing. But people that you're finding that with your members, they don't want to call in anymore. They want
Mhm.
to do everything online. They want to make their dining reservations online.
Yes.
They want to sometimes skip the human piece of it, which
Mhm.
call it what you want. It's a good thing and it's a bad thing. Like we still like that human piece of the phone
Mhm.
call and everything
For
where we can
sure.
have a great touch point. But a really smooth online dining request for the night is also very impactful. So text alerts are going to be huge online. Just anything that you can do in the digital age is big
Mhm.
because more and more members just want to do that. They don't want to call, or maybe they can't get through. And maybe it's a Monday, but I could still make a dining reservation for Tuesday, knowing that the club is closed on Monday. So we have to remember that kind of stuff too, because clubs are just dated in their technology and their communications, and it's our job to just elevate them into the
Mhm.
next generation.
That self-service element that someone could make a reservation at 1 a.m. if they're
Yes.
traveling and they feel like making a dining reservation and they don't have to wait till the next time someone's at the front desk to answer the phone.
Yeah, we have members who simply text us all the time. Like
Mhm.
it's the only way they communicate. Now, sometimes that's challenging too, because like
Right.
you've had those people who've texted you who you're like, what do you mean by this? And
Mhm.
our members are the same way sometimes, but luckily it's not that frequent, but it is more in the summertime when there's a lot more activities going on.
Mhm.
So
Very good.
yeah.
So I know some of our retail professionals can be a little bit hesitant to try something that's out of the box and maybe something they haven't done or experienced before. What advice would you give to merchandisers really looking to take that creative leap in their shops, but maybe they're a little bit nervous about the risks?
I think the biggest thing is just start small. Start with something you're really passionate about. And if you have an idea, whether it's like a promo for a spin the wheel for this or that, or pie the pro or whatever it might be, don't be afraid to do it. And you have to also lead by example a lot of the times too. So you have to be the one if like you want to do a pie the head pro or pie a golf staff member, it's you better be the first one to be getting pied because everyone else is going to go off your lead. But
Right.
I think if you're passionate about it, it doesn't matter if one person like was happy or you affected 10 people. It doesn't matter. As long as like you were happy with it and one person was happy with it, it was a success. Those outside the box ideas is what's going to get members talking. That's what they're going to remember. They're not going to remember like just a picture you posted to your Instagram page. They're going to remember something funny you did wearing one of the outfits, jumping in the lake or something. That's very extreme. They're going to talk about that kind of stuff versus maybe just a picture or a post that you post to your social media. So start small, but start something that you're passionate about that you and don't always look for other people for validation. That's the other big piece where if I pitched an idea to you and I got a response, that's just the nature we live in. People don't always understand your ideas. If you have an idea, go for it. And if you think it's going to be successful, it probably will be successful.
That's great. I love that advice to start small and it could be something really simple to get started and see where it takes you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that about wraps up all our questions for today. Thank you so much, Ben, for joining us for
Yeah,
this conversation. It was so great to connect again and share a little bit more about Champions Run and all that you have going on and what's to come for private clubs.
I appreciate your time. Thank you all. And you can always reach out if you guys have questions.
Thank you so much, Ben. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in to another episode of the Fairway to Retail Success. And we look forward to seeing you again next time. Take care, everyone.